Hey guys, or hi all. I wanted to walk through a couple of the exercises I will mention in class. I will go through some of them during class time, but um, I think some of them might be just better to look at them. You can look at them on your own and walk through them. So the first one I wanted to look at was BE8.12, and all this is a way of allocating a reasonable price to inventory items. Um, they often refer to it as a basket purchase. There were some examples in the revenue chapter. I don't think I specifically did one. We will see these kinds of examples again in PP&E. But really, it's just allocating where you're buying a bunch of stuff together in a basket or a bundle and trying to figure out how much do I allocate to the various components. So BE8.12 says we bought 1,000 computer games. We paid $7,500 for the load of them. It gives us some details as to what we got. And it says determine the cost per CD for each group using the relative sales value method. So it is important to get a cost for each CD, so as you sell them, you can record the right cost of goods sold. And at the end of the year, if you have some left in inventory, you know what to value them at. What they're saying here is use the relative sales value method. So they're going to figure out the sales value of all these CDs and then allocate the $7,500 cost based on that. So I've just started this in a spreadsheet. I have the three groups of CDs, 100 of group 1, 800 of group 2, and 100 of group 3. These are just the numbers out of the question. Here's the selling price that they've said these CDs are going to sell for. So here's the sales value. So in total, I plan on selling these CDs for $10,000, but I only paid $7,500. So to figure out a cost per CD, I need to allocate it to those CDs so it gets $7,500. And what they want is relative sales value. So if you watch the formula here, the relative sales value, these first CDs are worth $500 out of a total sales value of $10,000. So that's going to give me the proportion of the purchase price that should go to these CDs, and that proportion times 7,500 is what's going to get allocated to those. There's different ways of doing this in Excel, and again, you don't need this skill per se, but putting a dollar sign here makes this an absolute value. So I always want to use 10,000 and 7,500 in my math. So by putting that dollar sign in, when I copy this formula, it's going to keep those. So if I copy it to here and you look at the formula, now it's E5. So the 8,000, oops, divided by E8 times G8 again. So divided by 10,000 times the 7,500, and I can copy it to here. Okay, so what I've done now is said this is the cost I'm going to allocate to each of these three groupings based on the relative sales value of these groupings. And if I add these three numbers, I see they're 7,500. And then I can just figure out my cost per CD. I've got $375 for these 100 CDs. I've got $6,000 for these 800 CDs, and copy it down. I got $1,125 for these 100 CDs. So that's what they're looking at there. They use the term relative sales value method. Essentially, if I can sell it for more, I want to attribute more cost to it. Excuse me. So that was 8.12. Again, just the math on how to hit something out of a bundle. I think the question asked a little more than that, but go through it on your own, and that should work. The other one I want to look at was BE8.14. And this is more kind of a conceptual framework, and if I have an estimate, what should I look at as to whether I record that estimate or not? So if I were you, I would pause this here and give the question a read. what it essentially says is I bought some of these items, these wood frames, within the first 6 months of the calendar year, and now it's my year end. Now I get a rebate on these wood frames, but only after I buy a certain amount, and I haven't bought that amount yet. But I do have another 6 months from July to December to earn rebate. So again, I've set it up in a spreadsheet. What we have, to date I bought 3,000. They cost $250 each. So I've spent $7,500 on these door frames, wood frames, whatever they were. And this is my business. I'm pretty sure that over the next 6 months, I'm going to buy another 3,000 and pay $7,500 again. Now, the way the rebate works is if I buy 6,000 during the calendar year, the 3 plus the 3, everything over 3,500, I'm going to get a rebate on. So I'll get a rebate on 2,500 wood frames of 25 cents per frame. So I've got a $625 rebate I'm going to earn during the year. And the question gets to be, when should I record that rebate? So the things I would look at as far as conceptual framework is, what's the most relevant? What is the best estimate of the cost of these wood frames? What is the best estimate of the amount of rebate I'm going to get? And I would say that this $625 rebate relates to purchases of 6,000 units. So I should record half of it now because I bought 3,000 units. So I think I'm going to I bought 3,000 out of a total of 6,000. That's how much of the 625 I should record. What is the most verifiable? Well, I haven't actually got any rebate yet. I'm not going to get the rebate till I actually buy the rest of them. So, in theory, if I don't buy any more, I don't earn any more rebate. So, the most concrete number is 0. I haven't earned anything yet. What is the most timely, or again, the best estimate? I think that's the 312, because that's really what I ultimately think my cost is going to be. And then a very important one is, who controls if the rebate will be paid? And I think it specifically says in the question that traders can't decide not to pay. They will pay if we buy the doors. So that's very important. If traders controlled whether or not the rebate would get paid, then I definitely would not accrue it because it's outside of my decision making. But in this case, I think it's my decision to buy more wood frames or door frames. And if I do that, this is the rebate I will earn. I have a history of buying these things. I'm good at estimating how many I'm going to buy. And in this circumstance, under most accounting, I think you would record the rebate. Yeah, you'd record the $312.50 because that's your most likely cost. So again, just kind of a conceptual thing, a little bit of math to throw in, but things to think about as you're looking at making estimates of stuff like rebates. Rebates are a huge issue in some industries. When I was with Parkland and we had the convenience stores, rebates are significant in things like potato chips and pop, and based on volume levels of purchases. And this kind of math had to be gone through at quarter ends and year ends to figure just how much rebate you've earned or you thought you were going to earn. Okay, thanks guys.